Welcome to the First Crack preview, a finals edition brought to you by KFC Prelim Weekend. Doesn't get any bigger tomorrow night. Geelong and the Hawks, and then Saturday afternoon, Collingwood, Brisbane. As I welcome in David King, Lee Montagna. Welcome, boys.
Hello, lads.
Hello, boys. Best weekend of the year.
It is. We've got 4, and after the weekend, we get down to the 2, which is going to be exciting. The changes, ins and outs, Joey. Geelong and Hawthorn unchanged, but Reece Stanley is the emergency. Were you surprised?
Well, this is the big talking point. Was he fit and was he able to get up and play? Interesting that Geelong have named him as an emergency. So he's either fit and available or he's not. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cats do it again and they pull a late change and he plays. If he's fit and available and he's passed all the tests at training, this is just in Chris Scott's wheelhouse, just to bring him in at the last minute. Jai Clark was the sub in the last game. Can they bring Stanley back into the team, drop one of the others from the starting lineup as the sub, maybe a Jack Martin or someone like that? But I'd be surprised if he doesn't play.
You love Chris Scott's mind games, King.
Yeah, no,
I love it, yeah.
I don't. How would you know?
Yeah, I don't. We don't know.
No, but I like their lineup that they've got at the moment.
Collingwood and Brisbane. So Collingwood have brought in Jeremy Howe for Will Parker, who's omitted, and Brisbane unchanged. He must be fit and well to come into this prelim, Kingy.
Or he's just worth the risk. And I think a player of this quality that is good when the ball's coming in at him as he is when the ball's going the other way. His skills are beautiful. His kicking's elite. His timing with the intercept mark, when to roll off, when to start an opponent's terrific. He's a player that makes a big difference to their back six. And I think he comforts Darcy more. That, yep, you're in the right position. Sometimes you just need that steadying influence riding shotgun, and I think that regardless of what he does, he'll have a big impact with the communication down back. And
it's a perfect segue for your first crack, King, because you want to have a look at Collingwood and their defence.
Yeah, I do. I just think that when you look at the way they move the ball, and it complements how they want to play. It's all about being defensively set up behind the ball. So we talk a lot about, can you score? Can they get to 80, 90, 100 points? What sort of number do they have to put on the board? I don't think they think like that at all. I think that they're only worried about their goals being the defensive goals, not the offensive end of the ground at all. So let's have a look at how that looks, because we know that they want to take their time with their patient ball use, the point, the long down the line stuff. They go long like this, and just look at their back six, just getting organised, just calm. There's no rush, there's no panic. They'll give wide. They'll allow the opposition to go wide, and they'll say, OK, you can have that first one, then we'll get numbers back, we'll free up Darcy more, and away we go. So when you see the long down the line on the TV, just picture this behind the ball and their ability to fight and scrap and win it back, and then they press up high, and good luck moving the ball full length of the ground against the Pies. So there's a lot to talk about with this, getting organised whilst playing aggressive. Look at that, coming back into the middle, and now they're organised, gumming up the corridor and giving wide. Brisbane won't take wide. So this is a different model. So Adelaide are happy to take whatever you give them. Brisbane are looking to come back in here. So those guys that are free are going to get to really aggressive positions, and they're going to challenge you straight away. It's difficult to hold a loose man against the Brisbane Lions because they come through corridor and all of a sudden your positioning is out. You're not sure whether you're set or not. But to talk about Collingwood's back six, if they can force a straight line, a slow game, you won't score against Collingwood. But that's the balance of the games. You can see there, Collingwood not looking to score, 16 long down the lines, no immediate return, but next to score, 7 out of 10. They're next to score. So that number is just outrageous. So they're more than comfortable with how they move the ball because it gives them so much defensive stability. The Craig McRae be thrilled, and now add Howe into that. Yeah, this is a tough back six, back seven to score through.
That's fascinating because you look at Brisbane, they don't really go outside the logos, like you said. You'll see Toyota on either side. Joey, when you look at that then...
If you have a look at this, though, just quickly, the Brisbane ball movement. So when we're talking about the elite kickers, Joey, we did this game last week, this is what you're talking about. You're talking about lasers and take risk. Look at this. That is missing that hand by 3 centimetres. But Zorko's prepared to bite it off, and their release handball from that set standing man on the mark is a weapon. And this is what we're talking about. It gets in there quick. So you've got Darcy Moore, Jeremy Howe, all these players behind the ball. You've got to be in the right spot because they'll bite this off. Same again. He's looking for corridor. What's there? Look at that. That is a millimetre from intercepted and gone the other way. But look at the speed that it puts on the ball. And, yep, you get a chance. You might get one chance. You might get two. If you don't take them, they're in and they're going to score. So, Joey, this is the ever-present threat that is the Brisbane Lions. This is why they're here again this year. They'll back their players 1v1, 1v2, 1v3 because they got match winners.
And that's the key for me, and that's why I agree with Kingy. I think this will be the game because we've seen Brisbane, not just in this game, they certainly did in this game, but throughout the season, they will still force it even if you do clog up the numbers. We've shown games where teams have clogged the corridor, but they will still bite it off. Look at that. That's going to be the challenge.
That's in a box of 4. So if you can draw 3 or 4 into one position, you've got 3 or 4 teammates on the outside. So that's the game. Knowing when to release off your man defensively to come and help or to hold, to say, nah, they're through, I've got to get back. How set can you be against that? Well, the answer is not very set.
No, it's difficult.
How many times can you cut it off? That's the game, isn't it?
And because they do, as you said, even if you want to sit back, because they hit the short one, then they make the defenders that do drop off redundant. If you do squeeze up, as we've seen, they can kick it over the top and get that deeper ball through the corridor. So it's going to be a real challenge for Collingwood defensively, but they have been the best defensive team all year. They do make the right decisions more often than not, but for me, that's going to be the big key to this game.
Yeah, and the spatial awareness in the middle when you're defending. Don't get too close to each other, the grass. Collingwood are pretty smart at that too, so Brisbane will get through. The licence, they don't have a licence. Brisbane, they just keep going.
They'll do it.
No, but they don't take it away. Fags never takes the licence away.
They'll keep going for it.
Let's just go for it.
He's a giver, takes. He's not a Fags. He's not a taker. You've got a licence. He's like Oprah. He's handing them out everywhere.
All right, Joey, your first crack. You want to have a look at the Hawks?
Yeah, well, the Hawks have been on fire throughout this final series so far. We know how well they've played, and the biggest facet of their game that has been building the back end of the season and really peaking at the right time is their ability to score off turnover. Anyone that's watched this show, we've spoken about it all year, the turnover game, how important that is. You need to be top 3 turnover differential to win flags, and the Hawks have been building beautifully to the point where they're 2 games so far in the final series. They're averaging almost 11 goals a game off turnover, and they have outplayed the Giants and Adelaide with the turnover game. But what is fascinating, and this is Hawthorn's model, because when you take a look at it throughout the season, when they have won the turnover battle, they are 16-0. When they haven't, and the opposition have outscored them, because they're not a great clearance team, they're a bit they're more average to sort of the top end, but not elite. When they do lose, so basically in simple terms, 24 of the 25 games Hawthorn have played this year, the team that has outscored the oppo from turnover has won the game. And for me, this is going to be the battle with the Hawks and the Cats, because they are both strong turnover teams, but the Hawks throughout the finals have been building beautifully. And when I watched back and had a look at all the turnover scores for the Hawks in recent weeks, what stands out is this is where their half-forwards come into play. They are the smartest half-forward group in the competition, and they can sniff out when the ball is turned over. In particular, the couple of players I want to highlight in these clips are Nick Watson and Dylan Moore. And I'll talk about why I'm highlighting these players in particular. But you can just see, as soon as they win the ball back, they know when to get forward. They don't lurk up towards the ground. Dicko, they don't try and look for kicks up the ground. They release towards goal, which creates the space, which is why they can be so efficient off turnover and why they are so potent. So, again, Watson finding space. Dylan Moore's around the mark. And it's the others. I mean, Connor McDonald and Ginnivan, they can all do it. But this is going to be the real threat for Geelong, because Geelong, we know, are a team that likes straight-line footy. So here's the best example. There's Dylan Moore, top of screen. There he's sniffing out. He was already starting to go forward. Nope. Adelaide got the ball back. He joins back in. Now, second time, sniffing out the back. Off they go. Connor McDonald's involved in this clip as well. And there are the Hawks smalls. And this is where they are the most dangerous. So for me, this is going to be where the challenge lies for Geelong. Are they able to nullify the dangerous small forwards of the Hawks?
Well, that's a barometer, you say, between the arcs. They're the forwards between the arcs that put the heat on, because those +2 numbers that come up high, I mean, they play a pivotal role. And Watson, you've got some great numbers on Nick Watson in terms of what he can produce. Well,
this is going to be interesting to see about what the Cats do to Nick Watson. And I think they have to tag him, and I think it's O'Sheen Mullen, because here are the numbers for when the Hawks win and lose and Nick Watson sees it. Now, you can say with a lot of forwards, generally your numbers are better in wins than losses, so that is the case, but these are pretty significant. But what is most fascinating about Nick Watson are what he does in wins. So when the Hawks do win and he plays well, it's his first halves that set the game up. So 22 of his 26 goals in wins have been in first halves. 71% of his scoreboard impact in wins have been in first halves. And think about what we saw in the Adelaide game. So he's a barometer. He's the one that's not getting goals late in wins. He's kicking them early and setting the game up. So I'd be shocked if Chris Scott isn't putting a lot of work into this fella.
the wizard. He's going to weave his magic on Friday night. HBF, health is your best friend. We're going to have a look at the matchups now, boys. So Geelong and Hawthorn, be fascinating. We're upstairs just working out who's going to play on who. So we could go on for hours. We've only got a limited time. But as we look at it right now, you can take up the first matchup you spoke about with Watson.
Yeah.
Where do you see?
I think Mullen goes to Watson.
Mullen.
I think that's the matchup for me. And the last time they played back in round 6, it was Mark O'Connor that went to Dylan Moore, went up the ground with him at stoppage, played there. I can see that happening again, King. I think they might try and lock away the two small forwards for the Hawks, because that is the danger zone for them with their ability to score. And maybe it's Tom Atkins that can just match up against Newcombe.
I think it'll be O'Connor.
To Newcombe?
Yeah, I do. Well, how do you know?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We don't know.
I
Yeah.
think they'll start with Dangerfield in there.
Yep.
And whether that pushes O'Connor out for the bounce, I think that's a weapon they like to use, and we'll get to that in a moment. But I would just be surprised they let Newcombe run. I think there'll be someone putting some time in, whether it's Atkins or O'Connor, because let's be frank, he's the only one that's going to destroy them in the middle.
Yeah. Well, that's why I do think Atkins, because I went back and watched the round 6 game, and it was Atkins that played on John Newcombe on that occasion. And when you think about it for the season, Tom Atkins is the man that plays on all the bigger mids. So he's played on Tom Green for the Giants a couple of times. He's played on Rao, Ollie Wines, Davies Uniacke. He does play on the big-bodied mids. O'Sheen Mullen has tagged the smaller types, the Merritt, the Dacos, the Zach Butters type of players, the Errol Goulden. So I can see Atkins just going with Newcombe around stoppage and just trying to make sure that he doesn't dominate like he has in recent weeks from clearance. And then maybe it's a bit more of the team defence through the middle part of the game. Because in this game, and you'll touch on it in a minute, Kingy, how much the Hawks dominated, John Newcombe only had 1 centre clearance and only 4 clearances for the game, despite still playing pretty good footy. So just one to keep an eye on. I just think that's fascinating with these two coaches, Dicko. You know Sam as well as anyone. The tactical nous of these two and how they go about it's going to be interesting.
Well, I think it was fascinating. Last week you pointed out Newcombe. You've got to get to him. Dawson just shut him down early and they didn't, and he destroyed them. Absolutely destroyed them. So
you need a bigger body on him.
Correct.
So that's where I disagree with Atkins. I know he plays like a big body, but I just think the bigger frame. And I was thinking if they bought Stanley and they might have even used blitzers. But we'll wait and see. And this is the beauty of this matchup. The coach's box, they'll be throwing blows backwards and forwards. It's hard not to get consumed, or it's a danger for these coaches to get consumed in that fight and not stay true to what they want to be on in their own methodology and their own planning.
I'll throw you another one. Weddle, Dempsey.
Oh, yeah.
Like, on the wing, is this what we're anticipating, Kingy? We're like, OK, young bull, old bull. I mean, Weddle plays like an older man, but he's obviously young at heart. But as you look at it right now, what do you see?
You think Weddle?
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Weddle go. I'd love to see Sam Mitchell go, Weddle, you're going to Ollie Dempsey's wing. We know what Ollie Dempsey's going to do and push forward. We've seen it all year. But what about if they say, well, hey, Dempsey, can you run with Weddle? Can you play defensively and manage to defend this? Because I know Weddle can go back and defend. If Dempsey pushes forward, Weddle can go with him and defend. But I'm not sure whether Ollie Dempsey can do the same. So I'd love to see Sam Mitchell play fire with fire and stick Weddle, because he's been dynamite throughout this final series. But that's going to be an interesting battle as well.
Oh, I love this guy, though. I won't hear a bad word said about him. I just refuse. And I don't think he's necessarily the defensive animal that the others are, but he gets so much support. So he'll head all the way to the goal square, and he'll trust some others to pick up his man going the other way. And I think they live with that a little bit because the rewards are so high. He's kicked most of his goals from the goal square. Yeah. He's such a threat. But if that is to be the matchup, who would win it? Because I just think Dempsey would take him forward more often than not.
Weddle will go with him, though.
End up with Weddle as a defender out of the play.
Correct.
I don't know if the Hawks can live with him being out of the play.
Will Dempsey go back the other way?
No, he won't. But he doesn't have to. He's got teammates that'll do that, and you keep your strength. You maintain your advantage.
It's going to be good fun watching this from the coach's box, the matchups and what they come up with.
Tom Barrass. As we see him right now, who's he going to get?
Well, he fascinates me, this guy. And where the ground's small and he can cut the angles in that defensive 50, he's elite. And this is why they've got him. But when he's up the ground, and this is the biggest threat in the game for me, I'd be taking him to the wing as often as I could if I was Shannon Neal. Get him high, because he doesn't really do this part of the game that well. Thilthorpe didn't have a great day, but my God, if they could get any speed on the ball, he would have had a field day against Barrass, because he labours when he's working back to go. Look at the separation there. He's on Amon. I mean, if you had Neal versus Amon on Friday night, game over. So even here, it's a slow play. Free kick given. He mans the mark. There's no reason why he can't go with Thilthorpe from here. Absolutely no reason. But he tends to just drift. He's a bit of a drifter, if you like. He doesn't concentrate. He now get back to that small part of the ground, and he understands now he can zone. Now he can cut the angles. But if Geelong can move it quick or get the leapfrog effect going, all of a sudden you've got a tall, out the back, ready to impact games. I can see the big boy run the muck. Here he is again. And this is a slow play again, Joey.
Yep.
So there's no reason why you can't really get this done if your attitude's correct.
And there are not many better key position athletes than Riley Thilthorpe, but there is one for Geelong.
Yeah. Shannon
Neil.
Yeah. So have a look at this. So this is sort of what I'm talking about. Look, once it gets to the angles, he can leave. But if this is Geelong, they use that. They pop that over the top. They'll use pocket, they'll use wide and maintain flow, maintain speed. So I'm just putting this on watch. And this won't be lost on Geelong. They plan these games to within an inch of their lives. They would have seen an opportunity here. And the more times you can take Tom Barrass to the wing, the better off their forward 50 will be.
Well, my biggest question will be, how often will he go up to the wing to get the footy?
Well, if he doesn't go, they'll use him.
They set the field. Geelong set the field for their athletic forwards. And we've seen them get Cameron and Neil high a lot to use their athleticism to get back to goal. So Barrass is going to have to...
Bring your boots, bring your running scoop.
They will plan that.
Yep, and would you let him go and have that?
Now, that's where they've got to work out the Hawks.
That might be the strategy.
You're
You're going to let him go and you take it up.
Give up the mark.
You can have it on the wing, because when Sam got him to Hawthorn, he said, inside 50 can't be beat. No. That's why we got him.
Or can he hand over Barrass and hand over to Scrimshaw and Sicily maybe? So you take him when he's high and wait for him to come back to goal.
Again, these are the small advantages of a prelim. If Neil can take contested marks against those undersized players on the wing, then it opens up for Geelong.
Yeah.
So what have you got there? How can you exploit it? So I'm fascinated by how Chris Scott and Sam Mitchell exploit this matchup.
Yep, it's going to be fascinating. Kingy, let's have a look at the Hawks centre bounce. What do you see?
Well, last time they played in round 6, they won 13 centre bounce, and they scored 10 times. It's an unbelievable number. It's the third highest return, 10 scores from centre bounce in the last 10 years. And there was only 27 centre bounce opportunities in this game. The two higher, one of them was the 171-point win to Sydney against the West Coast Eagles of 18 months ago, where they had 40 centre bounces. So this is not like they had a massive opportunity to stack the numbers. So that is an unbelievable return. Now, in this game, Dangerfield only went in for one centre bounce. So that, to me, I think Chris Scott is prepared to not give a sighter through the home and away year. And he saves Dangerfield for the big month in September. And the numbers endorse that. When you look at how many times he starts quarters in at centre bounce, they just got to the outside so quickly in this preview. I mean, it's a long time ago, right? So much has changed. And they would have looked at this and said, OK, how'd they do it? They were on the move. They were exploding through the traffic. They weren't engaging body on body. Look at this, straight to the outside and go. Overlap, go, nuke him again. So maybe he didn't get the centre bounce numbers, but he got first receive. So I'm looking at Dangerfield. In 2022, the final series, he was in 7 of 8. He started in the middle in 7 of the 8 quarters, prelim and GF. In 2024, all 8 quarters, he started in the middle at centre bounce. This year, we've hardly seen it this year. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, 3 of the 4 quarters. Last quarter, the game's over. 31 points up, put him away again. So he'll throw him in there, get us going. We saw how destructive he was in that first quarter of the grand final against the Swans. Smith won the Norm Smith, but Dangerfield set the game up. He just ripped their heart out and they cashed him from there.
He's got the ace up the sleeve.
This is the ace. He's going, bang. If you can beat my trump card here in the biggest games in September, good luck to you. But he's in there.
So does he line up next to Newcombe?
I think he does. I think he does.
This just keeps getting better.
It's the big body again. We keep talking about that big, powerful body. And I think the coach asks for a special effort for the first 5 minutes. Give us your absolute best. And as soon as you feel a little bit of fatigue, get forward.
Before we leave this chat, just quickly, we're forgetting the big matchup, Mitchell and Scott.
Yeah.
Two masterminds.
Yeah.
How fascinating will they be sitting there and just looking across at each other going, righto, what are you going to do? It's going to be a fascinating...
I want them to hate each other, but I don't think they do.
No.
I know. I want a bit of... You feel like this is a prelim, you want some anger in it, you want some spite, it's going to be a
You can almost see them tip the cap to each other in the coach's box, like, good move, and then they counter it and come up with something else.
Well, it's been a big rivalry. Let's check in with Bernie Vince from PointsBet with his first crack for the weekend.
Thanks, guys. My first crack is Jai's September to remember. I'm talking of Jai Newcombe, of course. What a finals player he's becoming. I know you boys have been talking about him a bit, but I want to have a look at his Gary Ayres medal voting. Currently leading by 8 with unbelievable performances against, first of all, the Giants, 32 and a goal with 12 clearances. Then he backed it up against Adelaide, 28 and a goal with 8 clearances. He was the number 1 ranked player clearly in both of those games. So I think he is great value sitting at top of that table at $3 with potentially 2 finals to come. You see Nick Dacos there as well, a proven finals performer, but maybe a final less, who knows. You can find all those odds plus a whole heap more on the PointsBet app. Enjoy the footy.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
I'm ready.
4 o'clock Super Saturday, a familiar September sight.
The footy is ready. September is here.
Collingwood and Brisbane
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
live on Fox Footy.
Finals footy on Fox.
The most capped grand final combination since the turn of the century. Beginning back in 2002, when Lethal's message
Go Acker, run to the front of Lynchy.
sparked some Acker brilliance. 12 months on, they squared off again. This time, a Lions demolition
Back
to underline a golden era.
Football's invincible.
Then, 20 years later, the Magpies' returning serve
Kicks for Hill. Over the top. He went up the mountain and came down a hill.
the unforgettable grand final that had us guessing until the very end.
The king to the close finish and the king to the AFL.
Suddenly, it's 2025, and the last 2 premiers are going at it again deep in September.
Strap the belt on. They're the champs still.
What about the 2 coaches, Craig McRae and Chris Fagan? Both teachers by trade,
Frustration comes when you lose control. Stay true to what we do here.
and if they've taught their teams anything, it's resilience.
Oh, I'm quiet when I've got no confidence. Well, be loud.
Through the uncompromising turbulence
Go for your marks.
of an AFL season,
Tackle.
always knowing when to poke,
It's just a one-week thing.
when to prod.
Better be a one-week thing.
It's how they get the best out of the best.
Remember, mate, get it in first and then take off.
Outrageous.
The Chili Peppers.
Nick Dacos, brilliant goal. No hair, absolutely no worries in front of big sticks. He's a miracle worker. They have been remorseless and relentless.
Preliminary finals football at the G, with our team right in the thick of it, led by Jonathan Brown and Nathan Buckley over 2 decades since they faced off in those consecutive deciders, now marvelling at this rivalry, just like all of us. Here we go, finals footy, the best time of the year. Feel it and watch it live in magnificent 4K Ultra HD, right here on Fox Footy.
Geelong are in the grand final. They are into the grand final.
To get them to the granny. This is what you live for as a footballer.
Jeez, I've got tingles. Hopefully you do too. What a weekend of footy. Collingwood, Brisbane, 4 p.m. live on Fox Footy Saturday afternoon.
Could we put Matty Noble on half-back flank?
Ah!
I just want to see him play, Joey.
What about the knuckles? Because he's walking out. He's part of it. Absolutely. It's time for, thanks to Workday, Joey, let's have a look at your man, Nick Dacos.
We looked at all the matchups for the Geelong Hawthorn game. Well, this game, the Stars are going to be out and probably going to run free on most occasions. And it means all eyes turn to Nick Dacos and what he can do, because we saw the difference that he made in the win against the Adelaide Crows. Here are his numbers, his last 6 games against the Brisbane Lions, up on his career averages. He feasts out on the Brisbane Lions. He has big games. The only time that he was quiet was probably the round 21 game, when it was the first time in 5 where Brisbane got the honours. But the previous 4, including grand final where he's third in the Norm Smith voting, and the other 3 games he's polled coaches' votes, he's going to be looming large in this one. You spoke about how good Collingwood are defensively, Kingy, but so much of their offence and their X factor comes through this man, and just going to be interesting to see how well he plays. Could be the difference for the Pies, whether they're in a grand final or not.
You've been on it for 2 years.
Oh, he just go and watch the kid play.
Yep.
Can watch him run around. He's a star of our comp, and we hope he plays like that again on the weekend.
Isn't it great to see the stars in September just shine right
Everywhere.
now?
Stacks up.
Joey, King, enjoy the weekend. It's going to be absolute beauty. It all kicks off, though, tomorrow night, the Geelong and Hawks rivalry. 6:30, live on Fox Footy.